One of the things that separates Las Vegas from many other destinations is that this is truly an experiential economy, and it's the home of experiences. It's important to understand the distinction between services and experiences. Your book suggests that experiences are special kinds of services, and that's simply not correct. We are really no longer in a service economy. Here in Las Vegas, we're not really entering the information economy either. We are entering the experience economy. Nowhere is this more true than here in Las Vegas. We no longer provide services here in Las Vegas. Every casino or hotel is interested in providing experiences, and services are just an element to providing those experiences. The idea of marketing services is passé. Looking at products as services is ancient history, and for example, staying at a hotel is no longer a service situation. It's all about the event of staying in the hotel. It's all about the hotel experience. Let's play a little Family Feud game. Fill in the blank experience. You may have put anything in here. You may have put in something like the UNLV experience, the freshman experience, the Fremont Street experience, the NASCAR experience, the online experience, your banking experience, the hospital experience. The list goes on and on and on. Marketers today and business people in general talk a lot about the experience associated with their good or service or idea, but the reality of it is that they don't really know what they mean when they say that. So let's start by clearing up the distinction. Understand that it's all about the experience. It used to be you no longer sell the steak, you sell the sizzle. Well, you no longer sell the steak or the sizzle. Now you must sell the steak eating experience. Here's the distinction between services and experiences. When a person buys a service, they are purchasing a set of intangible activities carried out on his or her behalf. So, for instance, let's say that you buy a haircut. That you are buying someone providing a service for you. When someone buys a carpet cleaning service, they are buying a service that is in activities that are carried out on your behalf. Same thing if you buy an oil change. But when a person buys an experience, they're paying for the time spent. That is, they're paying to spend time enjoying a series of memorable events that engage the individual. So you can get a haircut at some place like Supercuts, and maybe it's a service. But then you can get a haircut at some other place where it is there's much more of a total experience, and you're no longer buying a service, you're buying an experience. When you enjoy the time spent, you're buying an experience. And services can be experiential, so can goods. Some automobiles are very experiential. That is, the value of owning a vehicle is the fun of driving that car. That's an experiential product. Experiences are individualized by definition, since they are the interaction of a staged event and an individual interacting with that event. Each experience is derived from the interaction of the staged event and the individual's prior state. So while experiences perish along the stage, its conclusion, the value of experience lingers in the mind of the individual who was engaged. That is, they remember the experience. Staging experiences is not about entertaining individuals. It's about engaging them, immersing them in an experience. So how do you experience an experience? Well, obviously the key to experiencing an experience starts with the senses: touch, sight, smell, sound, and taste. The way the activity looks, the way it sounds, the way it smells, the way it tastes, and the way it feels. So, for example, this is the idea of all of the senses being engaged in a restaurant, or in a or any other experiential activity, even going to the bank. You also experience an experience through feelings, the emotions: happy, sad, anxious, and nervous. The question is, what kind of emotions are elicited by the experiences? Reminding you of the past, reasons to cheer, etc. You also experience an experience through thinking. That is mental stimulation, creativity, problem solving, strategy guessing. Think about, for instance, an example of a suspense movie where you're trying to figure out what's going to happen next. You experience an experience by action. That is the mental and physical participation in the experience. Partition activities to get individuals into the experience. And then finally, you experience an experience by the relate aspect. That is the affiliation, a sense of belonging, team building, or loyalty. That is relating the activity to your lifestyle, etc. This is the idea of saying that this is my favorite bottle of wine, or this is my favorite automobile, or this is my favorite restaurant. It's my restaurant. Developing and managing experiential products. The key to understanding how to market and manage experiential products is to understand the core experience and the benefits, wants, and needs being met. This is the key to experiential marketing. My favorite example of this is that I had a consulting project at one time at a place called Brookfield Zoo in Illinois, and we were talking to the person who was in charge of the zoo, and we said, "What's the reason that people visit the zoo?" And he said, "To become educated." And my response was, "Really? Because I thought most people came to the zoo to see stuff they couldn't see anywhere else and to be entertained by the animals." So the real question is, what is the core experience? So always think interactive. Get customers involved. Promote the experience, not something else. For instance, when you promote the experience, promote the core experience and not some of the superficial extracurricular parts of the experience. Maximize the experience. That is, tie all parts of the experience together. The scenery. At the Brookfield Zoo, one of the things that we decided to do was to have our McDonald's Happy Meals with chicken nuggets that were in the shape, and French fries both, that were in the shape of animals. Make the experience memorable. That is, make it so memorable that people want to get souvenirs. One of the other problems with managing experiential products is getting old when everybody else is new. This is the problem of wear out with a few repetitions. And of course the problem is that the experience wears out the fastest with your best customers. An example of this is going to Disneyland. The first time you go to Disneyland, it's fantastic. The second time you go to Disneyland, it's great. The third time you go to Disneyland, it's okay. The fourth time you go to Disneyland, it starts to become routine. And so one of the problems that you have is that people who experience your experience over and over and over again find that the experience becomes less positive, less experiential over time, and more routine. Another aspect of developing and managing experiential products, make sure you can meet the expectations that you can build. If you say that you're going to have the world's greatest experience here, make sure that you meet those expectations. All right. Once again, we have this issue of the experience getting old. Remember when you were a little kid watching Barney? You could watch Barney over and over and over and over and over again. The problem is that that as you get older, the Barney experience starts to get old. If inflation forces up the costs and prices, the experience must be enhanced to maintain the value. It now costs $100 to go to Disneyland. And so for $100, you've got to make sure that people that go there are getting a $100 experience. One of the neat things about experiential products is demand is probably not elastic within some relevant range. That is, the people are not as price sensitive for experiential products as they are for service products or products that are actually goods. One of the things you have to do in developing and managing experiential products is minimize the detracting or unpleasant factors. For example, waiting in lines or paying more than once. So what Disneyland does now is they have the Fast Pass system where you don't have to wait in line. You can go and sign up for rides so that you basically don't have to wait in line to go on those rides, at least not very long. And then understand that distribution can either enhance or detract from the experience. So distribution is where the service is, or where the experience is delivered, how it's delivered, and when it's delivered. At the end of the day, folks, it's really not about the services anymore. It's really all about the experiences, especially here in Las Vegas, the experiential capital of the world.